What's going on, everybody? My name is Dave and welcome back to yet again another manager experiment here on the channel. Today we have got Ledley King at Tottenham Hotspur. Now this one has been requested a number of times across the videos that I've uploaded with manager experiments. So today I thought I may as well do it. It's going to be Ledley King at Spurs. It's the first Spurs manager experiment I've done for Football Manager 2016. So first thing we are going to do is look at Ledley King's stats. If I find him just there, and he's just 34 years of age, still quite a young manager. Of course, he had 21 appearances for England, and he's got some very, very strong stats for a manager. Very strong mentally. Obviously, physiotherapy is pretty poor as expected, but his judging player ability and potential is top notch. Level of discipline is 12, motivation at 19, tactical knowledge at 15, and man management at 16. So he's a very, very strong manager. These are the stats he has as a coach at Tottenham Hotspur. I think he's the under-18s coach. I may be wrong at Spurs, but they're the stats he has. So even, on the game, he's a very, very good manager. His preferred formation is a 4-1-2-3 with a defensive midfielder and wide attacking wingers. The playing style of passing, tactical coaching style, balanced playing mentality, a mixed pressing style, mixed marking style. And his second preferred formation is a 4-3-1-2. That reputation's a 1.5 star. He's got the Continental Pro license as well. Of course, his career was cut short quite early due to injury. He stopped playing in 11 to 12 season. I mean, he never really had a full season after, probably 04. He really, really struggled with injuries, which is a shame. He was a very, very good centre half. But today, we've got him as a manager of Spurs. We're going to test him out over, a course of 5 years or so and see how well he could do. So let's jump into the first season of Ledley King's reign at White Hart Lane. So the first season has been completed. We'll jump onto the Premier League now to see where Spurs are finished. And they're finished in a very respectable 4th place in the league. We'll quickly click view stages to look at it in bigger picture. Just 3 points behind Manchester United, who finished 3rd. And 2 points ahead of Arsenal, just behind them in 5th. But other than that, they were a comfortable 16 points ahead of Liverpool in 6th place. In the league, there were, 16 points behind the eventual winners Chelsea, who kind of ran away with it in the end. Tottenham, though, Ledley King is still in charge. We'll see who they brought in for this season. 2 players came in, Ki Sung-young from Swansea City and Igor Denisov from Dynamo Moskva, or Dynamo Moscow, or however you want to call it, for £375,000. Ki Sung-young came in for 10.75. The only player to leave permanently was Federico Fazio to AC Milan. In all competitions, of course, finishing 4th in the league, knocked out in the first knockout round of the Europa League by Schalke, knocked out in the 6th round of the FA Cup by the eventual winners Manchester United, knocked out in the 3rd round of the Capital One Cup to Everton. That was won by Man City in the end. Wasn't the best of campaigns for Spurs, but you can see here in the league positions, they didn't start off brilliantly, but for practically all of the season they were in 4th place, so they kind of did deserve that Champions League spot in the end. Maybe going out early in competitions allowed them, to stay fresh and fit for the league fixtures, so that may well have been a positive for them. The best players for Spurs this season, we can have a look. Stats and overall. The most appearances this season was Harry Kane and Toby Alderweireld level. Kane came off the bench 5 times, but Alderweireld got the most starts. Most goals was Harry Kane with 20. Most assists with Lamela with 12. Most man of the matches was Alderweireld with 7. And the best average rating was also Toby Alderweireld, 7.54. He looks like he had a solid first season at White Hart Lane. We'll jump onto the schedule just to quickly check, how they did in other competitions as such. So we'll start off with the Premier League. Of course, not winning their first 3 games here, but then they went on a very decent streak throughout the end of August, September, and the majority of October too. Had very good patches. No real bad patch during the whole season, which is very, very good for them. and that's probably what led them, to finish in that top four. Could have maybe even finished third, dropping some silly points here against Leicester and Bournemouth, but nevertheless, it's been a very, very strong season in the league. FA Cup, they beat Newcastle, Rotherham, and Charlton. So they beat two Championship clubs until they got smashed at Old Trafford 3-0 against Manchester United. Capital One Cup, lost straight away to 2-1 to Everton, so it wasn't a great game for them there at Goodison. Europa League, their group was Groningen, Copenhagen, and Monaco. So a couple of tough teams. They lost to Monaco but won the rest of the games, and then lost on aggregate to Schalke in the next round. Franco Di Santo scoring twice, the ex-Wigan man. So that is the end of the first season for Ledley King. A very, very decent first season in my opinion. But we'll skip forward another year, see if he can better it, and see how well he could do as Spurs manager for his second season. So we've completed the second season with Ledley King in charge of Spurs. If we click onto the league here, Tottenham have finished all the way down in 6th this season with 67 points. Finishing very, very comfortably ahead of 7th place, but still 4 points off Liverpool and a huge 12 points off the top 4. So the top 4 were quite comfortable in the end. Chelsea losing just one game all season, getting 97 points. Ledley King is still in charge, and this season he spent £82 million. His biggest transfer was Manolo Gabbiadini from Napoli. He brought in Çalhanoğlu from Leverkusen, Jack Butland from Stoke, which is a questionable transfer, especially as they've still got Lloris, spending £20 million on another goalkeeper. Simi Versalsko from Liverpool, Francisco Cubo from the Old Boys, Eddie Hermans from Standard Liège, and Lucas Romero on a free. Wow, brought in 54 million, the huge transfer, 54 million pounds brought in. 44 of it was Harry Kane. He gone to Manchester City. Andros Townsend's gone to Newcastle for 4.5. Ryan Mason left to QPR. Moussa Dembele also left. Now Harry Kane, he's gone. He didn't have the best of seasons. Very little games did he start there. A lot of the games appearances that he got were off the bench. Knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Champions League by Chelsea, but they won the FA Cup, Tottenham, this season. But they lost in the quarterfinals of the Capital One Cup. Chelsea looking like they're having a very good season. Competition still in progress, haven't quite finished it, but Chelsea will play Bayern. And Capital One Cup, Chelsea also won that, so it's a huge season. Mourinho still boss there, absolutely killing it. The best players for Spurs, especially without Kane now. Hugo Lloris had the most appearances. Top goal scorer, Gabbiadini, who I know isn't an out-and-out striker, is he? Oh, the game thinks so, but I know he's normally an attacking midfielder, possibly a right winger, but Spurs have made him, their main striker this season, scoring 19 goals. He got 4 assists as well, but the most assists was for Eriksen. He got 19, a huge 19, and 10 man of the matches as well, and quality 7.62 rating. New signing Francisco Cubo, in the 19 games he played, got a pretty decent rating as well. 19-year-old region from Argentina, looks like he could be a very good player in the future for them. If we check the schedule out though, again, wasn't the greatest of seasons for Spurs. Got some silverware though. It's a couple of bad patches this season compared to last season, where they remained fairly consistent. The second half of the season was very strong. They're losing about 3 games. Which isn't bad at all, to be honest. The start of the season wasn't great. This little patch here was pretty poor, winning just 2 games in that space of time. FA Cup, of course, which they won. Beat West Ham. Hartlepool actually took them to a replay to go back to Victoria Park. They beat them 3-0 there. Beat Hull, Leeds, Stoke, and then had Leicester in the final. No real hurdles to overcome there, so they did pretty well. Capital One Cup, they beat Bristol City and Norwich, smashed those two, until playing Liverpool at home and losing 2-1. Probably not the strongest team I've seen of Tottenham as well there, which is slightly disappointing. Champions League, beat Wolfsburg just about in the playoff. Their group was Roma, Schalke and Barcelona. They somehow made it through that which is incredible. They beat Real Madrid. Wow. They beat Real Madrid on the away goal rule. They beat them 1-0 at White Hart Lane. Çalhanoğlu grabbing the goal there. Then beat them, or they lost 3-2 at the Bernabeu, but won on the away goal rule. Then played Chelsea and lost, what was it, 5-1 in the end. But they beat Real Madrid, with a huge, huge accomplishment that is. Especially with such a tough group as well. And they got through that group of death almost for Tottenham Hotspur. But that is very, very strong indeed. Tactics he tended to play this season was this one here with Gabbiadini up top, 3 supporting attacking midfielders behind him. A pretty solid formation. That's what won them the FA Cup as well. So we're going to skip forward another year. Very decent season for Ledley King. Want to try and get better league appearances whilst also, you know, picking up silverware elsewhere too. So we'll skip forward another year and we'll see how he does. Third season completed. Click the league, see how they did. Second this season, very, very strong year for Tottenham Hotspur. Losing just 4 games, but drawing quite a large amount of 12. Chelsea ran away with it again though, but Tottenham having a very, very, very strong season. Ledley King still in charge. Transfers this year, they signed £109 million worth of players, bringing in just 32 million. John Stones is the biggest transfer. Very, very good centre half. Turning into an England international now, of course, but he has got some solid stats on him. Who else they bring in? Balde Keita from Lazio, Lucas from Atletico Madrid, Johnny from Celta Vigo, Chris Smalling, another very good centre-back. Looks like they've shored up their defence a little bit. Victor Lindelof from Benfica, Anwar El Ghazi from Ajax, and Brian Lubers from FC Twente. So a couple of guys from Holland there. Sales, Ki Sung-young left. He went to West Brom for 7.75 million. Kevin Wimmer went to Valencia. Nasser Chadli went to Everton. Carl Walker to West Ham. Kieran Trippier went to Hull. 2 right backs leaving there. Versachko, can never pronounce that right. He went to Lazio. He wasn't at the club too long, was he? He was also a right back. Sold 3 right backs in one window. He wasn't getting much game time at all. And Ben Davis and Veljkovic also leaving. Excuse me. And Denisov also going out. He went to the MLS. So of course a very strong season in the league. How did they do in other competitions though? Knocked out in the semi-final of the Europa League by Liverpool. Atletico Madrid beat Liverpool in the final though. They were runners-up in the Community Shield to Chelsea, who look absolutely unstoppable. No other silverware. They're knocked out in the 6th round of the FA Cup and 3rd round of the Capital One Cup. Best players though. Most appearances was Hugo Lloris. Well, Christian Eriksen appeared just one more game than him, coming off the bench 5 times. 20 goals of Balde Keita from the left wing. Looks like he was a very, very good signing for them. Gabbiadini grabbing 19, Lamela with 18 this season. Most assists was Eriksen with 22, most man of the matches for Eriksen 2, and he also got the best average rating as well. We'll check the schedule though. It's a busy year. Did very, very well though this season. Losing to the 4 games they lost were Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal and Chelsea. But look at this flipping heck. They only won 1 game in how many games is that? 3, 6, 10 games? Majority of them being draws, which is absolutely ridiculous. And that's where all their draws came from. Look at this though. Beating Fulham maybe, beat Reading, beat Villa. There's 5 games there, 15 points. What's that? Well, I can't think, but they could have actually gone and won the league if they had a better run of form, to be honest. FA Cup, knocked out in the 6th round, beat Leeds and Bournemouth. Burnley took them to a replay, then they lost in a North London derby in the FA Cup. Lost out to Stoke 3-2. Europa League this season, not the Champions League, of course. Had a pretty mixed group, Dnipro, Sociedad and Vitoria. Didn't lose a game there. Beat Copenhagen 5-0. Beat Bilbao just about. Beat Napoli. Then got through to the semi-final and couldn't beat Liverpool at Anfield. Community Shield lost 1-0 in the end to Chelsea. A very early goal from Eden Hazard. So the reign under Ledley King is doing well. They're actually at Wembley now. I'm guessing they're preparing for their move to the new White Hart Lane, which we'll check out in the next season. which we'll go to now. We're into 2019 now. We'll clock the league, and Spurs have finished all the way down in 6th again this season. It's mixed. They got Champions League, so they must have done something right. What have they won? We'll find out. Quickly, what's happening? Wow, could that be a Europa League? Possibly. Ledley King is still in charge. We'll have to have a look. 70 odd million spent this season, bringing in 46 million. Song Heung-min was sold to Stoke for almost 30 million pounds. El Ghazi left as well. He wasn't there long. Butland left. Made a huge loss on him, and another right back, DeAndre Yedlin, left. James Ward-Prowse came in for 24.5. Alan Halilovic from Barca for almost 20 million. Ricardo Horta from Malaga. Ryan Gold from Sporting. Ruben Rodriguez from Birmingham. Toby McNeil from Celtic, and Alphonse Areola from Lille. Wow, yes, they won the Europa League. Knocked out in the group stage of the Champions League. Won the Europa League, which is why they're going to be in the Champions League also next year, which is a very, very good win for Spurs. That is possibly why their league performances weren't as good, finishing 6 points off the top 4. Lost in the 3rd round of the Capital One Cup, 4th round of the FA Cup. We'll look at that in depth in a second though. Most appearances this season was John Stones. 18 goals for Christian Eriksen. Most assists as well for Eriksen too. Most amount of matches for Eriksen, and he also got the best average rating as he's been doing for the last couple of years or so. Now this is what's going to be fun as well. First of all though, we will look at the Premier League. Start of the season wasn't too bad. I think just inconsistency really. Couple of draws again, dropping points, getting smashed. Conceding 8 goals in 2 games against United, and Chelsea wasn't brilliant. FA Cup, beating Everton, but then losing to Southampton at home. Capital One Cup, losing an extra time to Stoke, who looks like they've shored up their team quite considerably. Now, we want to go to the Champions League first. What a tough group. Juventus, Atletico Madrid, and Steaua Bucharest only grabbing 4 points in that group. Juventus bossing them, so were Madrid, to be fair. That meant they dropped into the Europa League, which they beat Schalke in the first knockout round. Beat Liverpool, getting a bit of revenge. Not conceding a goal. Beat, if we could get the dates right, maybe we'll do it in order. Beat CSKA Moscow in the quarterfinals, then beat Monaco in the semis. Big result there. And they beat Stoke City at Parc des Princes 3-0. Balde Keita grabbing 2 goals within 9 minutes, so a 3-0 within 18 minutes. Basically put the game beyond doubt. Stoke finished 9th. Luis Enrique is their boss there. They've got a very strong team, it seems. But a very, very good season. What tactics did he use in that final? This formation, yet again, that he used seemed to work a treat for them. So it's doing well. We'll skip forward another year or so just to see if Ledley King's success can continue at the new White Hart Lane. 61,000 new seated stadium. Very, very decent indeed. So we'll skip forward now and check it out. We're into 2020 now. A whole new decade of football. But Tottenham finishing 4th. Getting Champions League football again. Being very consistent in that top 5 and 6, to be fair to them. Ledley King working wonders, you could say. £62 million he spent this season. Riedewald came from Southampton. Zivkovic, what a signing that is, from Bayern Munich, the striker. They did need a striker. This guy's got very, very good stats. Didn't net many this season though. Januzaj from Manchester United. Duarte from Espanyol. Christian Delgado from San Lorenzo. Mickey van der Hart from West Brom. And Wim Gerrits. Obviously 5 years in now, a couple of these guys are probably regens. Sold Çalhanoğlu to Juventus, 22.5 million. Ward-Prowse made a huge loss on him. He went to Liverpool for just 13 million. Halilovic sold. Rose went. Areola, Kyle Walker-Peters, some big players there leaving. Yamatonga went out on loan as well. He's obviously not getting the game time he once was. He's in the reserves for them. Other competitions. Wow, they won the Super Cup and the runners-up in the FA Cup. Who did they beat in the Super Cup? Man City. Pretty good going there for Spurs, beating Man City 2-1. We'll look at that more in depth shortly. Though media predicted 5th, so to finish 4th is very, very decent. As you can see here, they had a very up and down season, so we'll check that out. But knocked out in the first knockout round of the Champions League by the eventual winners Real Madrid. Knocked out in the Capital One Cup in the third round by Man City. And of course, runners up in the FA Cup. Players this season. Most appearances is Hugo Lloris by some mile. Christian Eriksen was actually top goal scorer this season. Gabbiadini and Keita very close behind him. He got the most assists and most man of the matches, and guess what? He got the best average rating as well. Christian Eriksen turning into an absolute beast for Spurs. He's worth almost 50 million, almost getting 200 grand a week. He's got 20 free kick taking. Very good physically as well. He's turned into an absolutely incredible player. Just one appearance of getting a century of caps for his Danish national team. The schedule though, we'll quickly look in depth on how Ledley's team did. We're going to start off with the Super Cup though. At the start of the season, Baba Rahman opened the scoring for Man City, but Lamela and Eriksen with a 2-minute salvo scored and won the victory for Tottenham Hotspur. Now, they did not start off well at all. Look at this. This draw, little plague of draws again, getting 1, 2, 3, 4 wins up until December, which is absolutely shocking. But they went on a very, very good run, beating Chelsea, Palace, Arsenal, Newcastle, Stoke, Bournemouth, Wolves and Swansea here. Very, very good run indeed. I mean, look at this. If you look at this, not many losses. They had a very, very strong season. This little patch here wasn't great for them, but they were very, very consistent at times. 3 losses on the bounce here, but other than that, a very, very strong season for them in the Premier League. FA Cup, they got all the way to the final, beat Dagon Red 3-0. Francisco Cubo, of course we looked at him, see how he's getting on. Valued at 13 million now, he's getting into the team a little bit more. Beating Bristol City after a replay, Southampton, Reading, Forest were beaten 3-2 at Wembley, and then they beat Manchester United. They lost to Manchester United rather, in a sold out Wembley Stadium. Capital One Cup lost 1-0 to Man City, Patrick Roberts scoring there. Champions League, the group was Besiktas, Inter and Basel, won every single game, topped that group, but unfortunately lost 6-2 in the end to Real Madrid. So, very, very decent season that for Ledley King. What we're going to do, skip forward one more year, just to cap it all off, and we'll end the experiment there. So let's go and look at the final season at the new White Hart Lane. So the final season of the experiment. As you can see here, a couple of high-profile jobs are available. Let's find out why. Manchester United finished 2nd, City 4th, but unfortunately Spurs finishing down in 6th again. 4 points ahead of Stoke, but massive 13 points away from 4th place, and another 27 points away from eventual winners Chelsea. Won it by 2 goals on goal difference. So close there. Tottenham Hotspur, Ledley King, he's still in charge at the club. Transfer wise, spending 58 million this season, probably one of the smallest amounts he's spent. He's brought in Ezekiel Ponce, another striker for 30 million pounds, who didn't, well, he did okay the times he played. 11 goals in 18 appearances, isn't too bad at all. He's also brought in Gabriel Henry, Martin Odegaard from Swansea. Is he turning out to be... Wow, his stats are incredible. He's gone valued up now to 30 million. He's only 22. And we've skipped forward how many years? You forget how young he actually is. It's ridiculous. Montenegro from Cesena. Matthias Soderberg came in from Malmo. Moritz Hansen came in from West Brom. And Kielan Leborg came in from Lens. Only brought in just under 20 million this season. Cameron Carter-Vickers went. Riedervold went to Roma. Lindelof went to Schalke. Mickey van der Hart went to Schalke. Now, not playing well in the league. Wow, they're in the Champions League final. Wow, in 5 days' time, we'll have to skip forward for that one shortly. Champions League final, that could be huge for next season. FA Cup, 4th round, they were knocked out by Carlisle United. That isn't good. Capital One Cup, they were knocked out in the quarter-final by Bournemouth, AFC Bournemouth. Manchester United ended up winning that one. Best players this season. Most appearances was Christian Eriksen. He was also top goal scorer, and guess what? He got the most assists. And John Stones got man of the match, most man of the matches. And Guess who got best average rating? Christian Eriksen yet again. Absolute beast at 29 years of age now. Schedule-wise, of course we know they've got this Champions League final coming up, which could be an absolutely huge game for them. In the league, it's just draws. They need to, they're having so many draws. It's costing them big time. Could be, pushing for titles if they weren't getting all these draws. A couple of runs of losses too there. FA Cup, we're losing to Carlisle, which isn't brilliant, is it? At Brunton Park as well. I mean, what league are Carlisle in? League 2. Not good for Spurs at all there. Capital One Cup, knocked out by Bournemouth in the end. Beat Preston and Chelsea to get that far. Europa League, they weren't in this season. They got to the Champions League after winning the Europa League. Beat Zenit in the playoff. Their group was Steaua Bucharest, AC Milan and Porto. Got through that. Beat Bayern, beat Roma, beat Chelsea. What a run. They deserve to go and win this. Could be very, very big for them. Could be huge at the San Siro as well. Community Shield they weren't in, and the Super Cup. They were in the Super Cup, weren't they? Bearing in mind they won the Europa League. Maybe not. Not too sure what's going on there. But we're going to skip forward another, 5 or 6 days. See how they will get on in this huge Champions League final. So I'll skip forward another week. This guy is now a Manchester United manager. Not actually heard of him. Urs Fischer. 55-year-old. Swiss. I'm not too sure who he is. What has he been managing? Basel in real life, is it? I'm guessing. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. Of course, we are now looking at Tottenham Hotspur to see if they won the Champions League. You know what I'm going to do is actually search the Champions League. It's probably Tottenham won it. It said holders. Tottenham have won it in extra time. What a result that is for Ledley King's side. It's a shame we don't holiday another year, because that'd be great to see how well they could do. Martin Ødegaard picked up man of the match. What a way to end this episode. Ødegaard scoring in the 80th minute to save it, and then Januzaj scoring a winner in the 115th minute. 22 shots for them. A huge victory for Tottenham Hotspur. Now the champions of Europe, champions of the world, if they can win the FIFA Club World title. But what a victory for them in the Champions League after a poor league season. Ledley King has now won probably the best silverware in football, in club football anyway. And what a result that is for Spurs and him. Now, that is the end of the experiment. I know it's a shame to end it like that, but it's on a successful note. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please do drop a like if you have. Subscribe to the channel if you like more experiments like this. Also, you can request if you'd like to see a manager at your club. And I'll see you guys all next time.